woke up this morning, the sky was gray, another storm.
All right, let's share this screen here. Hello, everyone. My name is Manon Doucette. I'm a published author. I work a lot on children books and nonfiction books, quite a bit. A lot of my books are not under my real name, so I leave it as that. We all having pen names, and for good reason sometimes, so we're going to go and start this. So here, I started a little questionnaire for people on this call, and I see nothing, so hold on, I'm going to fix my screen so I can see a bit of participant and chat at the same time. Feel lonely when I don't see that. I'm with my very good friend, one of the best on Sudowrite with me, one of our best teacher with me is Nicole. Nicole is having a bit of problem with her throat, so we'll try to help her as much as possible when it's her turn to speak.
Hello, everybody.
So here's a few things I like to find out for the people which are on this call before I jump into the write. People wants to write nonfiction. Do you ask yourself some question before you start a nonfiction book? And if so, which question do you ask yourself? Are you writing things that you know about? Are you writing to make money? Or. So give me some information on why you're writing nonfiction. You can unmute, you can put in a chat.
We got a few starting, so they're wanting to know how. Nonfiction, I actually started writing nonfiction before I wrote fiction, so I just enjoy it.
To make a topic more approachable to my reader, I'm interested in sharing some of the knowledge I have gained through the years. I'm trying to write this story up about my family and about the weird history and things happen to us.
And I'm writing about something I know about, a how-to. Those are good ones.
Yeah. So once you start with something that you know about, it's a good start because you're writing about something that you are passionate about or you really want people to know about. No matter which way we start, it's nice to have a base, but then we have also to know to who we're writing our books. So it's very nice to make some research. So you get first you research your subject. And most of us knows that right now the bestseller in books and audiobook at this point is Amazon. So the best place to go is to go on Amazon, go in the bestseller list, put the title or the subject you want to write about, and go find the bestseller or the one that has the most feedbacks. And the best thing after that is to really check the feedbacks. Go check in your niche what people love about the book. So make sure that you have it in your book. And look at what they don't like about the book, what's missing in the book, and make sure that what's missing in the book is in your book. That will assure that your book will come into the bestseller in that niche as soon as possible. Does that make sense?
Manon, can you make your screen a little bigger?
I mean, the words you mean, or the screen?
Yeah, the words. Yeah.
Don't know if that will work.
A little tiny for old people like me.
Hold on, let's see if I can increase font. No, it's not going to do that. Hold on. Better?
Perfect, thank you.
All right. So this list of questions for you guys, if you go and do your book or story, even some story, it's nice to have because you have to relate it to people. Balance the emotion and your reason. These are all steps for people to go and check before they go and write their books. So if you can answer all those questions for the book you want to write as a nonfiction, it's going to be a really good start. And that I'm going to share this here with you. Where's that chat thing? Right there. So you can read that at your leisure. All right, now this one is Nicole. This one is mine. So nonfiction prompts. We have a bunch of links for you guys. You can go and check when you're writing. There's the Grammarly, Vellum, Medium. That one is very, very, very good. If nobody knows about KD Spy, it's really nice to have because they do the work for you. They will go check the bestseller and they're going to tell you about all those little things that I said earlier. And it's a paid version of KD Spy, but they do like a lot of work for you on that. And Nicole, do you use that KD Spy?
I do actually.
There.
Yep.
So most people that write books, even nonfiction books, they use that to know what their competition is doing. So it's very useful to have. So you have the link here, and I believe there's discount attached to it. So you can get this. I will share this also with you. It's also on the other one. There you go. All right, let's close the link. Let's get in the prompt. My prompts here in Sudowrite, as much as ChatGPT, for the one who's using ChatGPT, you can use all those prompts. And where here they say subject, you put the subject you want to write your book in. So to engage you for the reader and how to do the Amazon research, the subject, these are all prompts to start your book that you want to write about. Anyone knows how to turn off dark mode? Okay, I don't, sorry. Let's get going now into the Sudowrite. So now these prompts you can use, they are yours. Go ahead, just go in ChatGPT, in Claude, in Sudowrite. You can use all those prompts also. So it's like, let's see if we use exclude prompt target audience. Like this one here. Let's start with one of those prompts and let's get in Sudowrite. In Sudowrite, as you can see, I trust my prompt and I use it on a few subjects. In Sudowrite, these are the prompts I'm using. And I think that's what I forgot to put in my book, in my document, is to put all my prompts. I would have to add that into my document. But these are all the prompts that I wrote to help me with my nonfiction. And they are using credit, but they are very complete prompt to use. So like this one here, make a short research on yoga using 3.5 Turbo. It's giving me an introduction. It's telling me about Amazon. It's giving me topic to include in the yoga, topic to exclude that people don't like, the target audience, the common point question that they found online, the objection for the customer, the recommendation, the unique selling point for that book, and real life application to it. So the first plugin, which is called number 1, short research for my book, you will find it under the plugin. So let's start testing these. So I'm going to ask you to give me a subject that we can start a book with. So we're going to test these things together. So a very interesting subject to write a nonfiction. I'm going to do the research together. Put it in the chat. I'll say it out loud. Dog training. Are you an AI person? They love that one. German occupation. Anger in workplace. Oh, that's another bad one. Sound healing. Oh, I love that. That's in my lane of utopian eco state. Poker. Dealing with boredom in retirement. That's a good one too. Managing anxiety. That's a really good one right there. Branching narrative design. Okay. I like the anxiety and two anxiety. Perfect. So I think I saw two. Let's see if I can go with Tanya there, the managing anxiety. So let's put that here. And let's ask my first plugin here. So give me nonfiction, do the research. This one can give you idea on the topic. So let's try this one. What's going to do with managing anxiety. So the title, the Anxiety Toolkit, Practical Strategy for Overcoming Fear. Description of the book. So you're giving me 5. He's giving me 2 cards. I might probably have something here. Was giving me 2 cards. So we have a few good idea on this here. So which one can we, that one seems pretty interesting. The toolkit on overcoming things. Tell me guys, which one you think you like. Anxiety No More, Holistic Approach, Emotional Wellness. Navigating anxiety in the workplace. That seems to be number 4, seems pretty good, or number 3. The other one is about parental. Stress and fear, understanding overcoming anxiety disorder, power meditation, easy anxiety, children, managing anxiety in a professional setting. So we have 2 or 3 about in the workplace. So Tanya says number 3 with the holistic approach. Are we agree on that? So let's get this guy here. From here, I'm going to use the second one because I want more thing on that. So let's get our research. There's more than one research. This one is with 4.0, which 4.0 we know is very intelligent these days. And I did put this one in this morning. So let's see if it's going to work very good into doing our research on this. So the hook, unlock the secret to achieve emotional balance with nature remedies. The intro in the today fast-paced world, they always start with this. Increase prevalent issue affecting millions of people worldwide. Tradition, medication, and therapy are crucial roles in managing anxiety, but there's a growing interest in holistic approach with that emphasis natural remedies and lifestyle changing. This book is Anxiety No More, a holistic approach to emotion wellness, aimed to cater to this demand by providing a comprehensive guide that explores nutrition, exercise, sleep hygiene, herbal supplement, and alternative therapy like acupuncture and yoga. So that's pretty good this far. This section focuses on what drives buyer to purchase the book about managing anxiety. The target audience provide this reader analyzing their lifestyle. So these have to go in Amazon and get the information. Or you can go inside, you can take all the information and go also inside the first draft and ask those questions. Now, the program that I would be using personally to do it, I will take the word anxiety and I will go into my KDP. Everyone see my screen? Yeah. So this is the KDP. I will go, and I forgot to sign in. Don't know if it's going to do it for me because I'm not signed in, but put anxiety. So we have the first one in this feature about anxiety. Then you have to look at the one that you want. So normally what I do is I go in this and I ask for the bestseller under anxiety. Now we're talking. First book on top has 2,457 feedback. That's pretty good. And it was published in 2021. So this is a very good book to go get. One program I have used the ISIN number and take all the history and manage it for me. So one thing that I want to work with Sudowrite is how we can get these to work inside Sudowrite. Do you use that, Nicole?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So that's another program that the link is not there because the program costs quite a bit of money to use. It came with classes and they work with this, but they give you a very detailed research with that number here. So that number is used with AI. So if someone can do a plugin using this ISN, would be a very good thing to do. I'm trying to do it, but it doesn't have enough reach outside Sudowrite to get me the information I'm looking for. So I would go with this one here, and I will go inside the feedbacks. And inside the feedbacks, I will go, the 5-star, they don't say much. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The one who's going to give you the most information is the one which get 3 and 4-star. They're going to tell you why they like it, and they're going to tell you why they don't like it. And normally it's the one which has 3-star that is the most descriptive. This one is hard to read. So go in your niche and look at these. One thing that you can do now with ChatGPT, you can highlight them all, bring them in ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to give you a resume of all the feedbacks. And ChatGPT will give you a nice resume that you can use to work on the book you want to write about. Any question this far? Because I know it's a lot of information. Anything? I didn't lose anybody?
So
All right. So this is one way to go, is that one. So here I have my research. How far did we go in that here? So it's telling me about all these things, the target audience. All right, so now it's giving me the democratic people. It's giving me the target audience and who, the gender. It's normally ladies who likes that kind of book. Between 25 and 45, marital, single or married with children. So it's giving you a lot of information on your target audience. Then it's giving you the psychographic, the motivation, seeking emotional balance, the value, health, and consciousness. So it's giving you a lot of information to write your nonfiction book. The common points, the common questions. So it did go pretty good inside everything. So how do I know which herb to supplement is safe about taking care of their anxiety? Alternative therapies, what to eat to keep it low, the exercise I need to benefit myself. All those questions, these questions are very important to put in your nonfiction to answer those questions. Those questions comes from the search that Sudowrite D40 did for our niche. The objection about it, people had previously tried and it didn't work. So make sure that these are looked after also. Other solution that customer tried. So you get more information, CBT therapy, a lot of information here to take and use, the takeaway and focus in the area. So you can take all that information here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that. And I like the research it did. It gave me a lot of information. So I'm going to go here and do a new blank. And I'm going to copy everything over here. Normally what I do is I go in my thing here and I go and get these and I take them out. I like to clean up these things. I don't like to work with those. The one I'm having a hard time sometimes to clean up is these guys. Copy. This is my workflow, so hopefully. See, that one, I never understood why the star doesn't want to get into find and replace. Did you find a way to get these things out, Nicole?
Oh, I just manually delete, but it's probably because it's markup, considered markup, because that's the way to get it to do bold.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep on going. So we have our research that we're looking for, and we can go through and read everything. And once Nicole is starting to speak and all that, I will probably copy everything and put it in the document so you guys can access it, and put all these also in the document so you can all might have to copy and paste the into a search replace. Yeah, that too. It's just make it longer for the class sake. I don't want to do it right now. So we have that research one, and this one is a shorter one too if you want to do a shorter research using 3.5. You can go check all these plugins and see how much credit they're using and choose the one you're more comfortable with. So I have a couple of those here, nonfiction. Now we have our information that you're looking for. We have a title, we have a hook, we have an introduction about the book, we have the overview of everything else. So what do we want to do? If we were happy with everything else, we can say, all right, that's my nonfiction idea and all that. Let's start a outline, what that outline will look like. So do I want everything from here? Let's see if we can put that in my outline with the good, the bad, and everything else. I put my little cursor at the end, and I'm going to ask for my nonfiction outline using Mistral Medium. So the outline for a 30,000 word book, Anxiety No More, holistic approach. The introduction should be about 2,000 words. The points in the introduction should be that here. Understanding the market, 3,000 words. Define the target audience, 3,000 words. Addressing the pain point, 3,000 words. Practical solution, 3,000 words. Content recommendation, 3,000 words. Structure the content, 3,000 words. And the remaining section, because it seems like it's too long for this to go. So the unique selling point, I don't like that. It took too much information from the research. Therefore, that's probably why I did do the shorter one. But in this research that we have here, the part that I really like to have in the book would be my title, my intro, my overview. I don't want the overview. There was another part that I saw there that I wanted. I will have to go and cut and paste things that I want. So let's start with this start here. I'm going to start a new project again. This doesn't mean that it's going to give us all the time the perfect solution right away. So from here, I'm going to try that again. So Mistral nonfiction outline. Outline. Intro, which now the scope of the book, the relevance, understanding the market again, define the target audience, addressing the pain point. It's very, very similar. So the holistic approach, that's more what we're looking for, the nutrition, the food, the sleep hygiene. So this is more what I want. So the first one that we tried had too much information in the research for the outline to be written. So you would have to go in and get like a synopsis of the information we got. But just by taking the top part of it, the introduction, the title, and the hook, now it's giving us a better, much better outline for that. Any question this far? If you already have your outline, right now we have an outline. What do we do with that? We want this to be written, right? So let's get this written. This is our outline. Now I'm going to ask about, I'm going to get my first part of it, which basically would be chapter 1 or the intro. So here I'm going to write down here outline so I can get back to it easier. Get another blank, so for my chapter 1 or my introduction, or depending on how I'm going to decide to use it. So I put just this part, the introduction. He knows how many words I want for it. He knows about all the section that I want. I'm going to back in my plugin. I say, write the book now. And I just click go. It's going to tell me everything. It's giving me even more section.
Hey, Manon, can you close out your Discord, or is that
Yeah.
not yours?
I think it's everyone Discord, but I close this one here. Hold on. And I also have my laptop beside me. There we go. That should take care of that. So he took my introduction and made even more outline. Sometimes it just work and sometimes it just give me a bigger outline. Let's see. Let's get this underneath. How many words we have so far? 1,033. So he took my introduction and he did expand it quite a bit. Wow. Something is missing in my write the book now. My story in reverse connect. Something is missing in my nonfiction. One of my plugin is missing. Just give me a second. You want to chat a bit during that time, Nicole? I have to go get my other plugin. Write chapter book now. Write the outline now. I think there was something missing. Sorry about that. What happened when you work with two computers? I'm going to reorder my plugin. Number 1, number 4. Number 2. With number 2. Write the outlines for the book now with Turbo 16K. All right. That's the one which was missing. It's going to get, let's go back and get my, let's go get chapter 2 here. Any question as I go?
Everything looks pretty good right now.
I'm going to remove the outline part here and I'm going to start with number 2. And I realized that it works better when he knows what we're talking about. So I get always a title with me as much as possible. And let's start with the plugin that I did work on my other ones. So write the book now, write the chapter book now. Seriously, what's going on? I tested this morning and he wrote the chapter and is giving me another outline. Oh boy. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to use this here. Sometimes the AI doesn't want to do what you want to do. And it's always when you get to class that's happening. So nonfiction idea, we did that. Research, I don't want to do. I want to write the outline. Nonfiction, write the book, write a chapter now. Get me an outline with this. And give me a right outline. Table of content. See the different way of, when you chat one way and then you go back and do the same title, how much difference it does between two generations. Table of content, the burnout crisis. So that's a much better looking table of content for this. Let's see if it's going to work better now with that. I want to write, not the book, I want to write a chapter with Claude. The other one was better for writing chapter. Let's see what it's going to do with this. Chapter 1, burnout, anxiety, burnout. Now he's writing the chapter. So you have to work with the back and forth to find out when the AI is going to give you exactly what you're looking for. Like right now, he's writing the chapter. So I just give him just the intro and he's writing that chapter. But we know that the other one had more information, a lot more information than that. But it's keep on working, talking about everything about what we're looking for. So we got still not a whole lot of words compared to what I got yesterday. Yesterday got me one, which I had 3,000 word chapter written. Meditation for Men by the book now. Yeah, that one, 2,974 words with the same plugin, basically. So write the book now. So you see, from one time to the next, sometimes you have to do it a couple of times to get it to do what you really want to do, because this is the introduction for Meditation for Men, and it gave me a lot of it, even exercise and things like that. So you can go and use the plugin. They work, it's just depending on how they decide to use what we put down. And for each generation, one generation is going to give you an outline, then the second generation is going to give you the full chapter like we have here. So I'm already at 37 minutes in. I showed you all the plugin I'm using. The other one I can use after that is once it's not finished, like this one here. He didn't finish, he stopped at be patient. And so when he did that, I went up and I used write. What I did is I went in my write button in my thing, I put why meditation matter for men, mental health, ChatGPT 4.0, number of card 3, 500 words, least creative. Then I went at the end of my little thing which says N, which right now probably won't be able to find it. But when I did, it started writing. The D of the N is here, compassionate with yourself. And he went and wrote a lot. Just with one click of the right, he got me 568 words for the end of the chapter 1 of Meditation for Men. So I would have to go in and read everything to make sure that it makes sense with the first part of the book. But that's how I can go and finish things when they're not finished, like this one here, which finish with the A, B, patient, and are you all right? You all right, Nicole?
I'm not sure. Let me.
Oh,
think I
okay.
got it.
It's Ellen was talking in the background. Anything you want to add to that, Nicole?
No, ma'am.
All right. So
Looks
this
good. I
is,
love the little research plugins.
yeah, it does a lot of information, and nonfiction, you have to go and read it, and you have to cross-reference everything. It's not like telling a story with Sudowrite. You really have to go and do your research, check everything. So once you actually put the book out, you have done all your homework. And obviously, here you get all the information you're looking for. And like I said, we're working on getting a nonfiction to work with Sudowrite, and I'm trying to get them to work with the ISIN to get more information when we do our research. But please go in, take the ISN, go into First Draft, and ask First Draft to make a research on Amazon.com ISN title and see what First Draft will give you. I didn't have time to do all that, but that was one of the things I wanted to do. So for me right now, it's pretty much everything that I wanted to show quickly. I mean, it's an hour that we have split in two. And at the end, I'm sure we're going to stay and chat even more and get more information in. So if you're ready, Nicole, you can go ahead and start your half.
Alrighty, ma'am. All right, so I am going to share this page with y'all with my stuff on it. So there's a whole nother page that this will go to as well. So fiction prompts and nonfiction prompts here that you can use. And I love the little book description one. So check that out. And I'm actually going to show y'all 3 different ways that I have done nonfiction inside Sudowrite. So we're going to look at First Draft, using Story Bible, and then I will show y'all my plugins. All right. Here is that page. So my main purpose whenever I do nonfiction with AI is just getting that really rough first draft. It's putting everything together for me. I get overwhelmed with a lot of information all at once. That's why I'm not a plotter. I can't handle those big outlines. But whenever I have the AI go ahead and put everything cohesive for me, I can then focus on, a chapter or a topic at a time. So that's the way I like to do it. Go with AI first, get that overview, and then I take it out of AI and it's just me and the book. So we're going to jump into First Draft. If y'all have played with First Draft at all, it could be temperamental. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it just wants to write a fiction story for you. So a lot of times you really have to tweak your wording in the prompt. And if it gets too frustrating for you, again, I'm going to show you 2 other ways to do the nonfiction as well. So this one's old. We've done it before, but since it's here and we're a little short on time, I'm just going to copy these real quick. So whenever I'm using First Draft, the first thing I'd like to do is just have it do my outline for the topic that I want. So I'm going to tell it, write an outline for a nonfiction book about First Draft is not a plugin, but it is in the plugins menu, and you can only see it if you have a blank document. So after you have anything written in the document, you will not see it in that plugins menu. You have to have a blank page. Keep that in mind. A lot of people forget that little point. And you'll see it's giving me my outline, doing good. And then the second step is something I just repeat as needed right here. Like I've laid everything out for y'all. So now I can tell it to write chapter number, whatever, for the book and focus on whatever that topic is. I'm just going to copy this real quick while it's finishing up. And again, at this point, I'm really not even worried about research accuracy. All I'm doing right now is essentially going to get an idea of how big my book's going to be and all of the different subtopics I want to cover. So I just keep going at this point. I will look through here. delete anything that I don't want. Like I know for sure if I don't want a little section, I'm just going to delete that. No sense in generating the content if I'm not going to use it. But that's really the extent that I do for accuracy or, actual revising at this point. So let me drop in my thing that I copied here. So if I want, let me just look real quick. A lot of these are pretty good. Nothing's standing out. Nice little takes on this. All right, so I've copied in that prompt from the nonfiction thing. So just to make it easier for me to now grab things. So as I'm going through each of these, I can just copy this, plop it into that portion of the prompt right there, instead of me having to type it all out and everything. So let's do, actually, I like this. Now here's where you can play around with it and see what you prefer. I can either do this whole little topic right here in this. Just keep in mind that's a lot, so it's going to give you less words, or I can give it a little thing at a time. So maybe I want a whole chapter on this one. I would just copy it. So we're going to do, I like this. I'm just going to do this one. And it really doesn't matter what chapter number you put. I try to keep it in order, but it's no big deal. So I'm just going to put that topic right there that I copied from here. And again, I can put them all together or break them up, whatever works for you to give you that desired amount. I'm just going to copy this. Again, a blank document into first draft and get that. Now, something else I can do here is, especially if I took a big chunk of that outline, so it didn't really give me all the words that I wanted for each section, what I can do after it generates, I can put my cursor wherever and start using the expand feature, or even auto write or guided write if I want some more. But I typically just use the expand feature. So you see, like right here, the religion, serial killers is just those 2 paragraphs. I would actually go in there, expand it, and then revise it later, just to have more words to work with whenever I'm on my own. And first draft is amazing when it listens. One of my favorite things to do is like character sheets for my fiction characters, but it hasn't been listening to that prompt lately. Let's see, where was it? So yeah, you see this little section here. So maybe I want it bigger. I can just highlight 1 paragraph at a time, use expand. Let's see if expand will cover all of it. Nope, too much for all of it. So I would just take a paragraph at a time, expand it again. At this point, I am not even worried about reading accuracy. That happens once I've generated the book and I take it away from AI. And it's just me able to do research on a little bit at a time.
Nicole, how much did that first draft generation cost?
So these 4 right here. Actually, I only ran it twice. So that's from another project. So 671 both times.
Right on.
Yeah. And it was 1,000 words here, 582 here. I have gotten up to 3,000 words. As a matter of fact, that was on like How to Get Away with a Murder thing. It had a field day with that book. So that is first draft. Very simple. And again, those prompts are right here. Play around with them. See what you like. I gave y'all some alternatives right here as well. Any questions on first draft? I'm not seeing anything in chat. So again, very simple. This is actually the way I first started doing it. I know a lot of people want to use Story Bible. So here's a breakdown and a couple of ways you can use in the Story Bible. The thing I want y'all to keep in mind, Story Bible is created for fiction. They're working on a nonfiction. I don't know how soon it'll be out. You know, I don't think it's very high on the priority list. I'm not sure, but they know that is a focus for people. So when I am inside Story Bible, I do not use the brain dump or the synopsis or characters or world building. I understand if you're writing like a memoir or something, you may want to use these things. However, keep in mind when you're writing a memoir, I mean, you really don't need your characters always described and all of that. So my recommendation would be, again, to experiment. You could try putting those people in the character card. I think it's likely to trigger for fiction if you do it that way. My suggestion would then be to use like beats to describe how a character looks, or you know what, just let it do its thing. You go in and add those physical descriptions or whatever other changes you need to make. This is one of those areas where I think instead of struggling to get the AI to do what you want it to do, it's just easier to get that base point, and then you go in and do the manual writing in your revisions. It probably save you a lot of time and aggravation that way. But play around with that. So I generally avoid brain dump, synopsis, characters, and world building. And then I showed y'all a couple of ways you could do like the outline, because that's the first box besides the style and genre. The outline's essentially the first box, right? So, of course, you need your chapter formatting, and I can just keep it simple like this. Or let's say I have an outline. So I'm telling it, hey, here's my chapter right here that I want. And then I want these key topics. So we'll try both of these so y'all can see how they're going to look. I'll jump over here. I'm going to turn on Story Bible. So I usually do, I've been playing around with my wording lately, trying to remember my original wording. So this is just a very, very, very basic, as you can tell, style prompt. Others I have used, gosh, telling it to add some wit, you know, you can have heartwarming, of course, if you want to go for that vibe. Work with ChatGPT on getting some different style options here. As a matter of fact, we can jump over to that real quick if y'all don't mind. So, and I can copy this for y'all. You paste this into my Sudowrite thing so I don't forget it. I don't have the little fancy, whatchamacallit, that saves all the different copies. What are some style words I can use to have AI write my nonfiction? I'm going to leave it at that first. It might not give me what I'm looking for, so I may need to guide it. And again, I'll copy this conversation so y'all can read through it later. So here's some words. What I would do, I'm going to guide it a little bit more just so y'all have that whole conversation. Let's see. So I would like a list. There you go. I know this is going fast. Y'all aren't having time to read this again. I'm going to give it to y'all. So what I would do from here is if I actually like something, maybe I like this reflective and the persuasive, I would actually tell Chat, I like, or give me an example paragraph written in this way, and I would copy those words out that I like, maybe mix and match. Let's say it gave me in that output a line that I really did like, it just stood out from everything else. I would highlight that line, copy it into the chat here, say, I really like this line, describe the style of this writing. It might give me some other words, and then I will say it again. Okay, write a sample paragraph using just this kind of wording. Or vice versa. It may give me something that I think is absolutely horrible. I know I definitely don't want it to include anywhere. So I'll highlight it again and say, I do not like this type of wording. Please describe it, or please tell me how to guide an AI to avoid this writing. That's ways y'all can just kind of get your style found. So there is that. You have to read through and find something, hopefully. All right. So I'm just going to stick with the, what did I do? Conversational, informative yet conversational, second person, nonfiction. That's really all I put in there. Doesn't need to be a big deal. So in my outline, I have the format correct that I needed. And all I'm telling it is write a nonfiction book about yoga for beginners. So I will go to my chapter 1, because that's all we have is a chapter 1 here. And I'm just showing you all these options, 2 options of how I've played around with it. So we're going to go to chapter 1. And I'm just going to generate beats from this. So that's it. It sees this right here, this instruction, and now it should generate beats correctly. Brief introduction to yoga, introduce the concept, some poses, provide tips for beginners. So it's doing a good job right here. And then, of course, as always, go through this, make any changes that you want. Maybe because this is an entire book in this one box, correct? So maybe you don't want to limit that introduction to just the first beat. Take all of these beats out if you want to make it longer. Just keep in mind, if I ran this whole thing, I'd get an average of 3,500 words maybe for this whole chapter. That's not much of a book, right? So I can take all of these out, remove them. I would save them just in case. Again, I don't have the fancy copy paste thing, so they're safe here now. I can go back there and I can use John's little ellipses method and just have it focused on each one being a whole little stride. So instead of this being one beat and it jumping to beat 2 for the stride, and instead it's 1. And you actually don't have to delete them. I could just put that ellipses after each one. But since it's nonfiction, I may want to start focusing on one more and add in some more details. Did that confuse y'all? If it's confusing, let me know. I'm just showing y'all different ways to do it. So let me copy this back in so y'all can see the difference. So I can leave it this way. That way I'm only focusing on this one thing. This also helps me as I'm going. So if I generated all of my prose down here for it, let's generate prose. I'm going to use, I've been loving Sonnet 3.5 for nonfiction, so I'm going to use Sonnet 3.5. So I'm going to use it. And remember, if I'm limiting the number of beats and I want that continue button, I'm putting these in there just same with fiction. It now thinks there's 2 more beats. Even though it's not going to run anything with these, it thinks there are. Just allows me to pause it and then continue later. Yeah, serial killers and yoga. All right. Oh, messed up with the second person here.
Yeah, that's why I don't use Story Bible much.
Well, I did. I told it the second person.
Okay.
But,
But
there
yeah,
you go.
go and correct everything, which seems to be like a conversation.
So this is how I would use it in Story Bible, or at least one way. The other way is to do your chapter different. And the only difference in these two, let me go back to the outline here. So really the only difference in these 2 versions is in one, let's just say I have no idea. I just know it's going to be a nonfiction book for yoga for beginners. But in this other one, I know, okay, here's the chapter, but I also want you to focus on this in this chapter, this and that. So it's a matter of how much detail do you have, or, know what you want to include already for your key topics. This is a way for you to include that inside each chapter. Yeah, second person definitely messed it up. So that is Story Bible. Again, I only use the genre, style, and the outline box. I don't use any of the others. As long as I avoid everything else, it typically comes out great doing
Nonfiction.
the prose that I need. Yes, thank you. I could not think of nonfiction class and I couldn't think of the word. But the point of doing like maybe that one beat at a time, again, I told y'all I get overwhelmed with a lot of this. So I might, especially I'm sick right now, so I might forget where I'm at. It's just a lot to look at. I don't want to see all this. Hence the reason if I'm just having one or two beats in here at a time, I can focus on it. That helps me a lot. So now let's just say I ran that beat one, that first stride. I'm like, okay, this is good, but now I want you to continue. I want it to have a little bit more. Well, we have our tools right here. So I can have this. Let me know what I'm set on right here. Let's see what Gemini Pro will do with that. So, if I'm liking where this is going, I want to continue. I can just hit that right button. And then whenever I'm satisfied, then put that next beat in the box and run with that beat.
Now it's making a story.
All right. So that is, it's just that second person throwing it off.
Yeah.
The,
It's to really to control the AI when you get in Story Bible, and with the my voice, once everybody can access my voice, it's definitely working much better when you take a nonfiction in my voice and get that to write for you. It's coming.
All right. So the other way, that's first draft, Story Bible. And the other way is the plugins that I did. So I'm liking these. I gave y'all a link to all of them. And let me explain this real quick. First of all, there is a little demonstration right here of me using these plugins. So if y'all need to recap that, you can watch it. It's not very long. I want to say it's like 10, 15 minutes, maybe. Each of these sections right here, the yellow highlight, that's a section. I do not use all of these plugins in that section. I want to make that clear. All it is I made 3 versions of the same plugin. They do the same thing, just using different models. So you can see which one you prefer. And I listed which one I did prefer from each. So when I'm going to this chapter writer, I'm not using all 3 of these. My go-to is the sonnet version. When I'm doing the outline, I have 2 choices. I'm not using both of them. I actually have combined them before, but they were so close that it was pointless. But this is my go-to for the outline version. The Goliath one, if y'all have used Goliath, especially in plugins, y'all know it tends to have the output cut off. It's just the model. However, in my opinion, Goliath does the best out of any model for ideas. So if you're really struggling with ideas, you find the AI is just giving you some lame output, I highly suggest making a Goliath plugin for whatever idea you're trying to come up with. Again, it gets cut off. It can usually, like my other plugins may give me 3 ideas. I can usually only get 1 out of Goliath, but it's generally usually very unique. So, all right, let's try out the plugins here. So give me a topic. Do we want to do the self-help stuff still?
How to find better sleep at night. How to heal your throat. See if the ChatGPT can do better.
All right, so I'm going to use my spiky POV, and you'll see spiky POV. What this is Matt Renitsky. I don't want to claim any credit for him. He has this program called the Punchy Author, and I took it. I loved it. So he's the one that gave me the ideas for this plugin. So I want to make sure he has full credit. I love how they came out. But we'll do self-help, personal development. Whatever topic you want. All you really need to do right here is put whatever kind of category or niche. Like if you know you want to do a yoga book, but you don't know what kind, put yoga. If you know you want something with dogs, put something with dogs down here. So I'm just going to highlight that and run the Goliath. And these aren't going to take long at all, y'all. The big part is actually finding it. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to use the Goliath one. Again, just because I love its ideas generally.
Self-sabotage.
So mine, again, the spiky POV, it's based on Matt Renitzky's thing of actually giving a spiky POV. And what that means is you're not going to take that traditional route of the books that everybody's used to, the books that everybody's going to agree with. You know, you want that book that's going to make people stop and think, maybe even want to argue with you on the viewpoint. So that's the whole purpose of spiky POV and why these plugins, tend to just have that little twist to it. It's not going to be this very nice thing. Instead, it's going to, hey, what about this viewpoint of things? And then you can pick one. Actually, I like the both first two, but I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to paste that here. And again, I'll walk y'all through this. So this is the first step. Your next step is the outline. So I'm going to take that. Again, remember what I said at this point, I'm the type that I would just rather hurry up, generate everything with the AI than take it out of AI and focus on it myself. So that's why I don't do any
You're looking for GPT 3.5?
fact checking or
You got it?
say that again.
Did you find it? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I should probably name them all spiky POV or something to make them stand out a little bit more together. So now this gave me my outline and stuff. And it also gives me my target avatar thing. And then the book description. These plugins, I can't remember if all of them do it. I know the chapter generator for sure reads preceding text. I did mention it in the descriptions of the plugin, so y'all can check there. So keep that preceding text in mind when you do that chapter generator. So for that reason, whenever I'm doing the chapter generator, I actually don't have the previous, I have each chapter basically in one document. That's it. I don't want it to see any preceding text. You may want it to see preceding text. And I'm leaving the preceding in there because there was times when I would generate my chapter, it wouldn't finish. And so I would be able to highlight everything and it would have that preceding text context to be able to keep things going. So copy everything out. And once again, if I wanted to, I could expand on this with the laser tools or change something up. Let's see. Looking to see if there's anything good here. All right, let's just do chapter 1. So again, after I have it all, I would have each new document with each chapter in it. And then run the third plugin. And again, my preference is the Sonnet one. Found the other two. Now where is my Sonnet?
And
Here we go. And so it writes the chapter for me. And the plugins have been my go-to lately. I'm really liking, especially what Sonnet 3.5 is giving. So that's it. I'm able to essentially get the whole rough draft done in an afternoon. And then I can spend however many days, weeks I need to finalize everything, adding in my own touches, my own stories, all of that.
Yeah, it's never totally written through any AI. You always have to go back and polish, fix it, make it yours.
And we'll check the cost on this. When I did change it from regular sonnet to 3.5, the cost did go up. However, in comparing the outputs, it was definitely worth the increased cost. So this gave just over 2,000 words. So those have cost us
5,006.
542, 767 for the first two plugins, and then the chapter writer 5,600.
Not bad.
The bad thing about Sonic is I have found, let's see, let me go to the front, beginning of the chapter. I have found it starts off the chapter on almost the same exact way. So we'll probably see this kind of wording and this wording. That's the bad thing about it. But otherwise, I'm really liking the output here. So that is the 3 ways I have done my nonfiction. Again, with first draft, using those prompts right here. Play around with those. And then Story Bible. I only did Story Bible a couple of times just because I really didn't want to mess with the beats there for it. It wasn't for me. It kind of threw me out of things. But that's how I use Story Bible. And then my current go-to is the plugins. So how do you decide where to put personal stories and such? So generally your personal stories will go one of 2 places, either opening the chapter, you'll have a story that kind of relates to that topic, or it'll be in the chapter, kind of taking up the whole chapter, kind of. You might introduce the topic for that chapter, and then you'll say, for instance, or tell that little story that relates to it. One of those 2 places. Opening the chapter with a story or putting it there to kind of drive the point home. Because instead of me giving you basically an encyclopedia of what was the self-sabotage, what was that at? So instead of me just giving you an encyclopedia of this, the boring output, instead I would actually put a story of, there was this time whenever I, did this and ended up, hey, sabotaging myself.
Right there on your 3rd point is telling to tell about personal experience. So look in the outline. There's always a place in the outline where it's going to tell you to put some of your personal information or personal stories.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't put it at the end of the chapter,
Mm-hmm.
how it is here. But opening the chapter with it or sprinkling it in throughout the chapter, making that story the whole topic and all that. Most of y'all know my story of abuse and everything. So I've been writing that book. And that one has been hard. So I'm going to warn y'all too on personal stories. That I think is what's taken me so long. I went from planning on this initial very short, hey, here's what happened, here's what I learned from it. And now I'm at like 5 books. And at this point, I'm just lost in the mess of trying to get all of these stories in there. So maybe if you do have a lot of personal stories, if that's really the route you want to go, I recommend starting a little bit differently than I did. So instead of starting with the book and then trying to add your stories in, maybe start writing your stories, almost like a journal, if you will, and kind of see what kind of topic would fit whenever you start writing the actual book, mix and match. Hey, here's a topic. Let me go look at my story, see if something stands out. Just giving y'all a little personal issue roadblock that I came up with while writing, a more personal book. But, well, hopefully this has helped y'all. Do y'all have any questions on anything?
Personal,
Yeah, so
yes.
yeah, personal story, nonfiction. Nonfiction still has generally personal stories in almost every good nonfiction book, especially like self-help personal development. If it's a cooking book, no, don't need personal stories. I mean, kind of use that mentality. I know Manon, I think, is doing an essential oils book. She might not have a personal story, or at least not every chapter. She might just start the book off, hey, here's how I got into essential oils and using them. And that's it. That's the only personal story she has in that book.
Mm-hmm.
But however, in self-help and personal development, you generally have a lot of personal stories in there, typically within each chapter, just to kind of drive home those points, because
Yeah.
you want people to relate to your situation. You want them to know what you went through or what you discovered, things you learned. And that's really the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And you're not there in person to give them any kind of context. So with your little story, which are attached to your nonfiction, that's how they can relate to you and feel that it's for them too.
All right. Well, as a reminder, y'all, if y'all go to the Luma page, I'm going to copy it here, just for anybody needing some more classes. Classes are always free. Take them as many times as you want. So we got the World Building Plug-in School Monday. Like today, look, I'm already forgetting what day it is. For anybody interested, I have another Write With Me starting next week. It's 5 days of writing. If you're still kind of struggling with our classes might move too fast for you, or you're not seeing enough of a certain thing, you might want to try come hanging out with us in this. It's more of a slow pace, so I'm not diving in through all of Story Bible all at once. Instead, it's starting inside Story Bible, continuing inside. It's 5 days of just, breaking everything down, showing y'all kind of an overview of my method of actually writing. So come join that if you can. And Nancy, for those children's books people,
Yeah.
Miss Nancy has another class. So check those out. The link's in the chat.
We have people who write in German. She's doing a 3-day or 5-day writing in German.
It is 4 days, looks like.
Yeah. And I have one at the end of August. Don't know if they put it up yet.
All right, y'all. Well, since there are no questions, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording, but we'll hang out for a few minutes to see if anybody needs anything. Thank y'all very much.
Yeah, thank you for being with us today. Hopefully you learned something good and you can go and write nonfiction books. We to show you many, many different ways to go about it.
Woke up this morning, the sky was gray. Another storm, another endless day. Thought I was drowning in the deep, but something in me refused to sleep. Every tear, every fear made me stronger, brought me here. I'm rising up, can't hold me down. Breaking through, I'm battleground. The road is tough, but I won't bend. I'll stand tall until the end. Mountains high and valleys low. Every turn, a path I didn't know. Lost my way, but found my stride. With every setback, I grew inside. Every scar, every pain built the warrior in my veins. In my veins, I'm rising.